Welcome to the Damascus Encounter, your favorite program on TV. It's another beautiful moment. Here today we are about to listen to another testimony of someone, child of God of course, that encountered Jesus and how her journey has been. Stepping into Adventism, the excitement of becoming a Seventh-day Adventist, and the way God made it so easy for her to become Seventh-day Adventist. Join me in welcoming, as we have in the studio today, Miss Oluwaseyi Sumonu. Seyi Sumonu, welcome to the Damascus Encounter.
Thank you, sir.
So, can we meet you? Who is Oluwaseyi Sumonu?
My name is Oluwaseyi Sumonu. I'm from Ondo State, Akuku Northwest, and I'm one out of 5 children. I'm a graduate. I'm so glad and very, very happy to be in the faith.
To say you are glad to be an Adventist, were you born into the church, or what religious denomination were you affiliated to growing up?
From childhood, I was not an Adventist. I wasn't born into an Adventist family. Even I don't think any of my family members was or were ever an Adventist. But growing up, when I was in secondary school, I had 2 classmates of mine, a boy and a girl, who were an Adventist. Like, they're still an Adventist though. They go to church on Saturday. I never counted it. I just felt, well, different faiths with different belief and some other things. So I never counted it, like I said.
To you.
Yes. But when I gained admission into the higher institution, there's the Federal Polytechnic Ado-Ekiti in Ekiti State, I had an encounter with a lady, that's my roommate.
Okay.
I spent 4 years in school with a year IT, that's a 5 years course. But my first 2 years, I went to different churches. Like, I attended the Redeemed Christian Church of God, I attended Deeper Life, I attended CAC Fellowship, Student Fellowship. But it's not as if I went to these churches because I was actually these fanatics, but I just felt, well, catch them young, one of those things that made me to go to this fellowship.
So of all these churches, which one was most attractive to you, or who were the ones that touched you so much that you attended?
Yes, at first I attended Christ Apostolic Church Fellowship, Student Fellowship, that's CAC. So I spent like my first 2 years in the fellowship, which I joined the choir, I participated in several things. While at home, I was attending Anglican. Yes. Okay. So because my mom, she's an Anglican, so I followed her to church. I was attending an Anglican church, which I joined the choir as well. So during this Catch Them Young, I went to CAC. After my IT, I go back to school, and fortunately for me, Deeper Life was able to get me an accommodation. Okay. So I went to Deeper Life as well. There's Deeper Life Student Fellowship. So I enjoyed their worship as well. But when I got to my 4th year in school, one of my roommates named Amira Dockers, she was an Adventist. Like, she's still an Adventist though. And I discovered that life is kind of different. Like, she goes to church on Saturday while I'll be in the hostel washing clothes, or go to class, go for tutorials and stuff. So she comes back and she doesn't go for tutorials like on Saturday, like, no, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. So she will just be in her room, just maybe meditating, sleeping. After eating, she'll just rest, and probably maybe after 6 she could go to class and read, and then she'll come back. On Sunday she goes to class, while others, we go to church.
So you always would look at her and you were wondering, what sort of human being is this?
Yes. So but I just like her lifestyle. I really, really do. My fellowship, that's Deeper Life Student Fellowship. They went for camp, and I couldn't join them because maybe they went to them, maybe out of the state or something. So I couldn't join them. And I felt I didn't want to stay in the hostel. Okay, this girl that has always been going to church on Saturday, let me just follow you and see what you do in church.
Okay.
So I just felt, okay, I'll be following to church today.
So you volunteered to go,
Yes.
not she asking you if you wanted
she
to
didn't.
come. Did she ever say, would you like to come to church with me before you decided, before you asked?
Yes, normal. We know we were all roommates.
Yeah.
So she always say, we have this program today. I'm not going. It's not necessary. Like, I have my church. So she always tell the old roommates and the members. So I feel like, I'm not going. I have my church. We have program. But this faithful day, since I do not have a choice, let me just go to this church and see what do they do. And the first thing that captivated me when I got to that church was, it was just more or less like a family meeting, if I must say. Everyone was involved in one thing or the other. Like, no one was just sitting and just looking. Like, one person, maybe, we have the Sabbath school pamphlets. We have this from Saturday to Friday. Maybe Saturday will be given to someone to come and explain. Sunday to come and explain. Like, everyone was carried along in the service, in the worship. So I felt like, wow, this is nice. Somebody will come out, talk about health. Someone will come out, talk about mission story, and wow, this is nice. I feel like I'm at home. And after the close of the fellowship, people came to me and felt like, wow, welcome, sister. At first, I felt like, is it because you guys are not much? That's why you are coming to greet me. I'm not coming to this church.
In numbers,
yes.
In numbers, they were much less than the fellowship you used to attend before this time.
Yes.
Okay, so when you said that people were involved, everybody was doing something, is that supposed to, compared to your former fellowship, the fellowship you attended normally, were there specific things specific people could do that made this one now impressive to you, that okay, now look at everybody's involved? Okay,
yes, in my former fellowship, well, like, people will always, we have ESCOs that these duties have been delegated to. We have someone that will come to the stage to sing, have someone that will come, so you keep seeing same faces every time. But this one is just a different one. Like, you have, well, that was the first time of going there, but I just felt like this person came out to talk. Another person how to talk, like, it was, I don't know how I can describe
Everybody
it, but
was involved.
Everyone was involved. So I felt so relaxed. I felt so relaxed. And after the program, I was happy. People coming to me, hello, you're welcome. What's your hostel? We'll come and visit you. So, and something about that fellowship was they love to visit their members. They don't just, once you don't come to church, I don't want to agree that because they were not much, that's why they do that. That was why they do that. No. But I think that is just the way it is. Okay, so, but at some point you told your friend, you told Amirat, this one that your fellowship is like, you are doing your church like a family, Was that to you a strange thing? Was it weird in your thinking, or it actually impressed you? It wasn't weird. It's impressive. It's quite impressive. Because I now discovered that later, delegation of all these things made people to have courage, to be courageous, to be bold. Because when you start doing things like that, right from maybe, okay, in my local church now, we have children's Sabbath, in which the kids, even someone as far as you can speak, a child can speak. If it's just for the child to say John 11:35, Jesus wept, it's very, very, at least the child will be involved.
Memory verses,
so the child will be involved in everything that is being done in church. So it's, once a child starts doing those things from a very, very young age, it makes the child to be bold and courageous.
And that for you was a very big deal.
Yes, which that's made me to be a very bold person now. Like before, when you give me memory text, I just, even mere seeing the crowd, everything is gone. But the moment I do it often and often, and I become courageous and bold.
So in other words, the Adventist fellowship brought you to a point where you got involved in worship activities.
Yes.
You started speaking, standing up to speak, which for you is a good thing.
Yes.
That is interesting. So when you went to this church, the Adventist fellowship, you got involved. I mean, you were impressed by the service. So for the rest of the semester, rest of the session, it's safe to say you went to church with your friend, your roommate, every Sabbath?
Not every Sabbath.
Okay.
I can't really count how many times I went with her, but...
Okay, so you still had to go back to your church?
Yes, I did.
Okay, why did you do that? Was it because you had some role to play, or you just felt, let me watch and see?
Not that I had roles to play in my church, but I just went there to at least see what they do, like in the Adventist fellowship. So I went there again. She invited me for singles program okay. And I went with her, which I enjoyed as well. But I was not fully committed. I was going to my church, and once in a while, I usually follow her to church as well.
Okay. Did you get any sort of impression in your mind? Did you get any sort of impression in your mind that this is the church you should be going to, or you should go to church next Sabbath? Like during the week, your mind begins to tell you, I should be in church. Let me go to church with my roommate.
No, it was not that easy for someone that goes to form a church, then to just change like
overnight,
just immediately. No, it's not that possible. But once in a while, maybe when there is a program, I follow her to church.
Okay, maybe what I meant was it something you were praying about? God help me to be able to make those decisions.
I wasn't praying about it.
It was just a place you liked.
Yes.
You enjoyed the worship, but then you went back to do your own thing.
Yes.
All right, we'll take a little break now.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll continue with your sharing of this wonderful experience.
Thank you, sir.
The Damascus Encounter will be back after this time out. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Damascus Encounter, and we have in the house today Oluwaseyi Sumonu, who is sharing her testimony of how she got impressed by this friend of hers, and out of nothing to do, she decided one day, roommate, you know what, let's go to church. I'll go to church with you. And she went to church and she was impressed, and so we'll take the story up from her as Oluwaseyi begins to tell us what else impressed her in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Oluwaseyi, let's continue with the discussion.
Thank you, sir.
So, you were impressed the first time, you went back to your church, you did your own thing, came back for a couple of programs in the Adventist Fellowship.
Yes.
And then what?
And then after school, it was time for service.
After school means graduation?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was time to go
you had to go for the National Youth Service Corps. Okay.
So we filled her form online. That's where we were to choose the states in which we want to serve.
Okay.
So she was in Lagos and I was in Akure in Ondo State.
Okay.
So I think we even went to cafe different days to choose. We actually wanted to serve in the same place, but we don't know how the thing would be done. So she chose her own place, I chose mine. But I think I told her to choose Osun State. And she said, I think she chose just 2 states. I chose 4, which I can't remember the 4 states, but I remember I chose Osun, I chose Kaduna, and Enugu, and one other state. So as God would have his way, when the posting came out, we posted to the same state.
Both of you?
Yes.
Okay.
Osun State. We did not work it, so it's just like that. So she checked theirs, I checked mine. Wow, I was so happy. Like my friend, because we later became friends, not just two roommates. So we were not even in the same department. Here, I forgot to mention that we were not in the same faculty, not the same department. So we were posted to the same state, which was Osun State. And we went to camp. That camp was 3 weeks.
Camp.
Yes, orientation camp, which was meant to be 3 weeks. So when we got to the orientation camp, we were allowed to choose room for ourselves. So we chose the same room.
So you were in the same room again?
Yes.
Okay.
But platoon is something that you cannot choose yourself. Okay. You just have to, maybe I guess you'll be given a tag and you just find your platoon number or something. Okay. So we were given the tag, and fortunately for us, we were in the same platoon again. That was platoon 7. And so we participated in almost everything. We would do things together. And then in the camp, there was, to locate Adventist members was a bit difficult. Okay. So we just, on Saturday, we worshipped. We got to know some other Adventist members in the camp. Maybe 2 or 3. So the 4 of us would just camp ourselves somewhere, and then we just worship. It was not that easy, but we had to do it.
Because on Saturdays you had different activities to be involved in.
Yes, but there are times we go for rest. So those times we can just quickly do little worship, and then we'll sing, maybe study our pamphlets, and then that will be all.
Did you attend other fellowships at the camp?
It's been a very long time, so I can't really remember if there were fellowship in camp. I can't remember. Okay. I can't remember. So after camp, we were taken to the conference. The conference executives came to pick us in camp, and then we were taken to the conference.
Seventh-day Adventist Church Conference. Okay.
That's Osun Conference. We were given letter. That was a few days to the end of the camp. We were given letter to know where we would serve, our place of primary assignments. Okay. So she was posted to Ilarogun. I was posted to Ejigbo. I was not so happy because I felt we would still be together. At least she would still keep mentoring me. But I think God just wants me to now face it myself, and then she can now go her own way.
So let's get this straight. So at this point, because in school, it was you went to fellowship with her.
Yes.
And she invited you to a couple other programs which you attended.
Yes.
You were impressed, but you still did your own thing and go to your own church. Now at the National Youth Service Corps Orientation Camp, you were together.
Yes.
And you fellowshipped together. At this time, your mind, where was it? Where was it at? That is, were you at this point beginning to think, I want to be a Seventh-day Adventist? Or it was just the joy of having this friend of yours, you're together again, and just the fun of it?
At first, yes, it was just the joy of having a friend of mine. Okay. Yes, I was happy, like, at least. But it got to a point like that this friend was no longer there. It was me. I was left to choose. And at that time, when the friend was no longer there, when she went to her own place of primary assignment, I could change my church and feel like, okay, since she's no longer there, I can go back to my former church.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying. That was what I was driving at. That were you at this point now decided I would be? Because when you went to your place of primary assignment, did you go to Adventist church or did you go to Sunday worship as you would do before?
I from the Osun Conference
headquarters. Okay, Osun Conference came to pick you all.
Yes, to pick me and to pick us all from camp. We got to the conference headquarters and we were fed and we were told how to get to our place of primary assignments. And there was a pastor of mine, that's Seventh-day Adventist pastor that came to pick me at not the Osun Conference, after I got to the local government, that's Ejigbo local government. Okay. So the pastor came to pick me. At that point, I could just feel like, I can go back to my church now. At least there is Anglican in that local area. Yes. But I felt like, you have to stand for what you believe. you have to stand for
So
us.
now you were convinced that going to church on Sabbath was the right thing to do.
I did not mention a lot of maybe seminars that I went for, maybe some other books that I've read.
That you read.
Yes.
So all of this helped
me. And when I looked at Matthew 28, 1 and 2, I guess somebody told me about that, and I did not argue it with anyone. That's why is the Sabbath day Saturday.
Okay.
I did not argue it. But in my mind, I was just, when I read that, somebody told me about that and I read it, I felt, well, I think. Then I'll ask people, what's the first day of the week? They will tell me it's Sunday. Hey now, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday is Saturday. Then why do we worship on? But I felt like, well, I found my path and I need to focus on it, so no going back.
When you became convinced, when you had to tell your parents, what was it like? Did you feel, hey, how am I going to tell them?
No.
Okay.
I never did.
Okay.
After service, I went back home and I was able to locate my local church. That's Isolo Church in Akure.
Okay.
So, and the welcome was still very warm. It was warm and I was happy. The worship too, still, I was impressed with the worship. And I discovered something about Adventists. The Bible is the watchword. Like any little thing, you have to open the Bible and you need to support it with the Bible. So I was so happy about that. Like, I got to know so much about the Bible, especially there's Revelation and Daniel, books of Revelation and Daniel. So it was so expository in seventh day. So
step by step, yes. God built, the Holy Spirit helped you to build all of this up. And so when you told your parents, they were okay with it?
Well, my parents are not fanatical, like they are not
rigid.
That you say you are going to this church and you feel like, no, you must go to my church. No. So they just feel like, okay, you are old enough at least to choose for yourself. So
and you are doing well, you are well behaved.
Yeah, exactly, yes, that's the point. I think my behavior changed for the worse. It would have been like, hey, you know, normally in this part of the world, anything you do, that's the way you do in your church. I don't know if you
okay,
so
yeah,
they tell you that's the way. Is that what you have been taught in your church? So I behaved myself, at least to some extent. So
did any of your siblings, family members, did they ever come to church with you? Did they go to church with you?
My mom went to church with me once. That was when we had a Harvest Thanksgiving a few years back. Okay. She followed me to church and she said, wow, it's nice. And she always tell me, Adventists are organized. That's what she always say. Wow, Adventists are organized. Very organized.
Tell me, when did you get baptized and what was it like as you stepped into that water?
So when I got to my local church, and I was convinced before I got to the local church, I was fully convinced. And when I got there, I wanted to join the choir, and I was told I would have to get baptized, and I felt like, since I'm convinced, why won't I? So I got baptized 2018.
Okay.
That was I think around May 23 or so. So. And it was a very good experience. It was a very good one. I was baptized by Pastor Wachishebede. It was a very good experience, like normal immersion and.
Yeah. And so, since baptism and since you started the journey and the walk, any regrets? Did you hit those zones or moments where you said to yourself, maybe I shouldn't have joined this church? Or has it been just fun and you're glad all the way?
There's no story without the ups and downs. Like every story has its own ups and downs. Like I said, delegation of duties. I am not this kind of person that really likes to face crowd. So most times if I'm given something to do in church, oh my God, even to stand up and walk up to the front and I'll be like, God, no, how will I? Sometimes I dodge. I must be
Say,
sincere.
these people, why can't they just leave me alone?
Why? As in,
Why me?
let me just be in church and just listen and then go back home.
Oh, yeah.
Why will you tell me to? Sometimes I'll have to maybe do this mission story or health talk. The day I was given the health talk, I felt, please, I didn't even study anything close to health.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
a
feel
doctor,
you because
I
feel like that too.
neither am I a nurse. So why would you just tell me to come and do this? So sometimes interpretation, oh my God, to interpret for someone, it's just...
Okay, somebody is preaching in English.
Yoruba, and
then you have to translate in English.
Yes, in English. Oh,
wow, that's a huge one.
It's so...
But you do all of these things anyway.
I do. Before I do, I'll have to pray. There was a time I was told to be the Sabbath school teacher, not the superintendent, no. Okay. Like the English teacher, the Sabbath school English class teacher. Oh. Sometimes it will be on Saturday morning that I will now start opening my pamphlets to start studying. I'll get to church and I'll be like, God, how will I just do this?
God was leading you and teaching you how to study.
So those are those things I feel it was not, I wasn't so, but as time goes on, it builds the confidence in me. Like now, at least I've lectured and I could face students of over 100.
And talk to them.
And talk to them.
And teach them.
And teach them confidently.
Impressive. I want to thank God for you. I want to thank God in His own way. He chose how He wanted to lead you to Him, and He brought you into His fold. And by His grace, you've been able to find your place, and you also have a role you are playing in church. That's it. We grow step by step, every step of the way God leads us. And the things we thought we would never do, we get to do it when the Holy Spirit is with us. Thank you very much, Oluwaseyi Sumonu, for sharing your wonderful story.
Thank you.
I would pray, as I always do, that God will continue to lead you.
Amen.
And guide you and lift you up higher. Amen. As you continue to serve Him.
Amen.
Thank you. That will be all on today's edition of the program Damascus Encounter. We've heard it all from Oluwaseyi Sumonu, sharing her wonderful story, experience, and the warmth that she felt when she came into the church, and how God has taken her from that height of the very lowly, someone who would rather be in the background, to someone who can stand up, face the crowd, and speak for Jesus. Until next time, when we bring you another edition of the program, perhaps you are impressed by Seyi's story and you also would like to share yours. Don't forget, doors are open. You can come and share your testimony. The Lord bless you and be with you as you keep watching Hope Channel and looking out for your Damascus Encounter. Bye-bye.